This dog waited every time his friend paused in fear. When you see what happens, you will understand why. He didn't have a collar or a leash, so he couldn't go for walks with the other dogs at the shelter. But one day a man came to adopt a dog, and when he saw this little guy, he fell in love and took him home. A puppy was abandoned at a very young age. At first, the dog couldn't control his bladder and had many accidents around the house. The man named the dog Champ and started taking him everywhere so he could get used to being around people. The dog wanted to play with it, but he was afraid because he had never seen a butterfly before. The man noticed this and started to approach Champ slowly so he could calm him down. And when the man took him outside, he would always run away. The man was very worried about his new pet, but he didn't give up. This was very unusual behavior for Champ, so the man was worried. He took him to the vet, and the vet told him that besides some minor health issues, the dog was okay. Just then, one of the vet's assistants came in and said that she had found a small object in the dog's yard. The man's eyes widened when he realized what it was. It was the exact replica of a toy that he had thrown when Champ was still a puppy. The man was very surprised because the dog had made a lot of progress. So he decided to take a different approach. From that day on, they were inseparable, and their bond grew stronger than ever before. He had searched for hours but couldn't find the dog. They may not be able to tell you how much they appreciate it, but believe me, they do. He had assumed that Champ had been scared and had run away. They played fetch, went for walks, and even slept in the same bed. People from all over the world sent messages of love and support. But one day, Champ stopped responding to the man's commands. The man was so happy to find out what had happened to Champ. As the man was walking home, he saw a group of kids throwing stones at a cat and he chased them away. The man realized that Champ had been protecting the cat and he was so proud of his dog. He couldn't believe that the dog had waited all this time for him to come back. The man was so happy that he had adopted Champ. The dog's name was Champ, and he loved playing with his new owner. Slowly but surely, Champ came back to him, tail between his legs. Feel free to share it with us in the comments section. We would love to hear about your furry friend. The man was very happy because he knew that he had gained the dog's trust. The man threw the ball and Champ started to run after it, but he stopped in his tracks when he heard a loud noise. The man was concerned, so he took Champ to the vet to make sure he was healthy. The vet said that Champ was fine and that he just needed to get used to the man. The man was confused, so he tried to get the dog to come back to him by calling his name. One day, Champ was walking around the yard when he saw a butterfly. The dog who waited every time his friend paused in fear. When you see what happens, you will understand why. At first, the man thought that maybe Champ was just playing and wanted to stay outside a little longer. But then he realized that something was wrong. But just as he got close enough to pet him, Champ ran away. Instead of chasing after him, he just sat down and started to talk to him in a low voice. From that day on, they became best friends and did everything together. But one day while they were playing, something strange happened. But no matter what he did, the dog wouldn't budge. Champ was shaking and his eyes were wide open. The man approached him slowly and tried to pet him, but the dog yelped and ran away. He took him to the vet to make sure that he wasn't sick or hurt, but the vet couldn't find anything wrong with him. It was a small plastic toy that looked like a mouse. The man remembered that Champ had gotten under the fence to retrieve the toy and never came back. But now he realized that the dog had actually been stuck under the fence the whole time. The man gave Champ a big hug and promised to never leave him behind again. The man shared Champ's story online and it went viral. If you have an animal at home, be sure to give them an extra dose of love today. Do you have a similar story? Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. A man adopted a dog, but he didn't know that the dog would wait every time he stopped until he found out why. They would go to the park and play fetch, but Champ was always afraid when the man paused. So the man spent more time playing with Champ, and eventually the dog stopped being afraid when he paused. He took the dog back to the vet, but they couldn't find anything wrong with him. The next time he called Champ, the dog came running.